So BTC's trading at 84K. It sounds pretty miserable, but considering that it's 10% up from this morning, we were talking 78K earlier today. It's a miracle what is going down now. So guys, can we actually trust this bounce? Should we be shorting this? Should we be fading this? Or should we be looking for more long? So we're talking about that today. We're talking about all the Bitcoin scenarios that we can deal with. There's tons going on here on a Friday. Let's get right into this. And remember, guys, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe, and it's Friday, so I brought in the gun from Hackers. He is here. He's bringing you one or two setups. I don't know if we're long or short yet. Are we long or short yet, bro? What do we got? What do you got?
I think we're long.
We got long. Okay, that's a good start. Let's see. We got James in the house. He might have a couple of things here for us. He's rocking and rolling. And I would say Banter Bubbles is so green, but I mean, because of the abuse that the market took over the last few hours, it looks a bit like a dog show. So we can go onto the 1 hour on Banter Bubbles and start feeling a little bit better about ourselves. Okay, so things are looking a little bit better on the lower time frames. On the daily, it's disgusting. I mean, it's another one of those massive sell-offs that we've had, but Bitcoin's up 7%. Solana is absolutely ripping, and things are moving again. So let's get into the. Syed says first rinse, then wrecked. Sheldon Shadow says fake out. Guys, I am running a poll at the moment here. Take a look at the poll. Just answer the poll for me. I just want to see your sentiment here. Do we trust this pump? Are you selling it? Or are you sitting on your hands? What are you guys doing? And the generic says 600 million long liquidations. I think so. I've got something along those lines as well. So we'll take a look at that. Okay, let's see what is going on here. BTC, let's say it listened. Okay, everyone knew that CME gap was at 77K, and what have they done here? They dropped us into the August VWAP, which was an absolute banger. That was the August dump VWAP that came in at 79K there, and we had a nice bounce out of that in our CME gap box. So now my only issue at the moment is that the CME gap isn't closed completely. The low is 77. So that is something we need to pay attention to. Then in terms of upside and what we're looking at now, we can see we are pushing into our first big resistance zone. This was a previous support band that we had, 85,150. So we're going to be watching this guy at the moment here, 85,150. And then we've got our next one, 86,600. That's going to be our next one. Now, this is interesting for me because we've got our VWAP from the highs, and we know how powerful these VWAPs can be. So big danger zone ahead, 86,600 to the VWAP at 87,600. So look out in this whole region over here. This is going to be a zone we really want to crack through now if we are going to get a little bit more aggressive on BTC. But I think a decent start so far for us with a 7 to 8% move here to the upside. So let's watch the circular zone here. That's going to be an interesting one. And then our big one, which we're going to talk about on the daily in a couple of minutes here. That is the big one. That is the huge one. That one is basically defining whether we remain super bullish on BTC or we remain really bearish. So this 90K we are going to talk about. And Carlos is saying this Trump shit, fuck my brain. Look, that guy has wrecked every single, I think he's wrecked every single Friday this month. It's been an absolute dog show. So maybe he's got something else in store for us again later on today. We're talking about his new tariffs as well. We're gonna look at that now. So guys, just resistance bands. You've got the levels of interest here. That 90 is a massive one that you're going to be paying attention to. And then in terms of support, you're looking at today's low. Okay, that is obviously the main one. You're going to watch our dip today's low. Then we've got our CME lows at 77K, and I want to give you one more that you can play with this weekend, and that's going to be your 200-day moving average. That is 81,900. So those are the best levels I can give you to play with now while we've got some kind of short-term bounce in the market. And timeout is screaming weekend pump. Now we wanted a weekend pump last weekend, and that got those plans got wrecked. Okay, James, weekend pump or dump?
I think we pump. Maybe
nice,
dump,
okay.
Just like this on Sunday. We get our typical Asia Open, right?
Dave, pump or dump?
We pump.
Pump. Okay,
Nice.
okay. I've got a couple of head shorts in case we don't. Okay, I've got you guys covered, and then we've got a couple of long setups for you in case we do. Okay, so you're gonna make sure you're gonna have fun this weekend. Okay, let's go. Now, this was me, yesterday. Obviously, the market falling over. Dinner with candle. Oh, I'm talking here, and I've deleted the screen. Okay, this was me. dinner with candles. Okay, what is your dinner with candles like when you're in leveraged positions? Is it nice? Is it romantic? Or is it like this guy eating a bowl of ramen or whatever's going on, watching the market fall over? How was your dinner last night, James? Was it pleasant?
Yo, lovely.
Did
yeah,
you have
lovely.
candles?
Yeah.
Dinner with candles? Good. Okay, and then this is a great one because this is basically the whole of crypto entering Q1 2025. We had certain expectations, didn't we? We wanted certain things to play out, didn't we? And this is exactly what has gone down. Going long. Let's go long. Send it up. Yeah, that's it. That's all the altcoins. There's my Popcat trade. In fact, that was actually my Brett trade there. That went swimmingly, really well. And crypto banter dropping today. Sentiment hits its lowest point in the past 12 months as Bitcoin falls to 80K. We know that, okay? We don't need a graph to tell us that. We're feeling like absolute dog shit at the moment. And who else is getting incoming margin calls? Who's got a few of those? So $490 million leveraged Bitcoin positions liquidated in 24 hours. And I saw somebody in the chats actually said 600 million. So look, it's believable. Another filthy move. And now as Bitcoin is pumping up, don't forget, all those bears are getting wrecked as well while this thing goes back up. So that number is going to be bigger by the end of this weekend. But if you ever wanted a long signal, here it is. Okay, there's your long signal for BTC. Fear and greed at 16. Fuck, they can maybe squeeze out a few more cents here. But at some point, this thing is bouncing back hard and we're getting that snapback bounce, but maybe we're going to go back lower again. So we're going to talk about those levels. But in terms of using the fear and greed index for when to go long and when to go short, I'd say this is reasonable. This is a long. And when the fear and greed hits 90, it's most likely some kind of short scenario. So we're looking super bullish from that front. And then Uncle Donald throwing the cat amongst the pigeons, doing all these things. I see Jason's in the house. And there's our hackers scalper degen trader extraordinaire sitting there in the chat. So good to have him here. Uncle Donald, European Union was formed in order to screw the United States. But now I am president. Okay, how's my accent? Did I do it well? US President Trump talks about EU tariffs that he will impose in his first cabinet meeting. He says it will be 25% in most cases. Okay, so the market didn't like that. Did you like that? Did you enjoy that, James? Couple of tariffs. Are you still there?
Oh, there you are. You're lagging there a bit.
Oh, apologies. Okay, apologies. Did you enjoy the tariff announcement when everything started falling over?
Yes, that was fantastic. I was waiting to get a little bit lower here. We've been too bullish for too long. We needed to have a little reset, I think.
Yeah, I think it was fair. It was about time they sent us lower. Okay, I mean, fuck this shit. Anyway, okay, so this is what's basically come out. He says, Uncle Donald says China is going to be charged an additional 10% tariff as well. And he announced that tariffs on Canada and Mexico will go into effect next Tuesday because they're not controlling the flow of fentanyl. So remember what happened there, James. He said to them, I'm going to put these tariffs, but if you control fentanyl, we're going to sort it out. You've got a month to sort it out.
It was set for April 1st. 2 days ago, he said it was going to be April 2nd. Yesterday, he says, no, never mind, March 4th. So every time he brings up this change in a date at all, the whole market just panics and tanks. It's just insane. Can you just get all the tariffs out of the way? Give us the dates for them all. Please don't change them. Let the market digest it so we can move on from this shit, man.
Yeah, look, it's costing the degens money. That's what it's doing. It's hurting the guys that are in margin. Okay. So look, he's playing games, and I don't know if he's doing it on purpose or whatever the story is. But whenever there's a tariff situation that comes out, and the market likes certainty, the market hates surprises. So when Uncle Donald comes in and says those things, obviously there is a bit of a panic in the market. So let's talk S&P. This thing is completely fallen over, but this is a long for me. S&P major support. If this isn't a long of this level, your next wick fill is going to be your long zone. So in terms of, being reliant on the S&P to bounce in certain key areas, I would say it's safe to assume that your long zone is from this region, and you probably get some kind of bounce over the next while into at least something like 6,000 before they potentially send us a little bit lower. So watching that one closely. If they do want to bleed us one more time, I'd say 5,800, most likely another long zone there for the S&P. But look, after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red days, surely it's time to send this thing up for a couple more days. So makes sense for a little bit of a long there for me. And let's see how your sentiment is going here 460 votes. Guys, keep the votes coming. 31% sitting on their hands. Listen, that is still a position. No position is a position. 33% are looking to short this thing, and 37% are trusting this. Guys, let me know in the chats, is that the bottom for you? Was that the bottom of the move? Let me know how you guys are feeling. I'm quite keen to see what you guys are saying there in the chats. Okay, let's get into this daily chart. It's pretty important that we start paying attention to what is going on here on the daily for BTC. So 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪, if you're panic selling now, you're probably a noob, he says. A 30% correction in Bitcoin bull cycle is common, fair enough. It dropped 53% in 21 and still recovered to an all-time high. Fair comment, okay? We've seen tons of this before. I see Maruk is shorting Sol already. I'm a head short in Sol. I'm considering actually closing that long. We're going to look at it now. And Matty says, no, these bouncers are here to sell. Okay, guys, I like that. I think that's the hackers mentality here, that, we look for longs, we look for shorts, and we keep things balanced. Okay. Bitcoin on the weekly. This is what we're looking at. Look at that beautiful dip into that CME gap. So our first 200-day MA at 81,900 came into play. We had a nice reaction. Then they sent us deeper. I see Mokujini says bottom is in. Nice, bro. Straight into that CME gap. Now, these are the scenarios that I'm playing with at the moment. And, I think ultimately, no matter what happens here, I think ultimately the scenario ends somewhere there or somewhere there, okay? And that for me is 72 to 69, 66 or 59. Now, how do we get there? Okay, what is that story? So in terms of the weekly chart, we can fix this really easily. If, for example, this weekly candle starts closing above $90,000, then I suspect we're going to call this an absolute fake out and we are cruising higher. But for me, if the weekly closes below that 90K at the end of Sunday, this weekend, I suspect the next move that comes out of the market might just be that pump into that zone, and then we start making our way down into those types of regions. So that is currently what I'm considering. That is currently what I'm thinking. Nikhil says 92 to 93 next rejection zone. I think that's a fair call, because we know when you lose a big level, they sometimes just pump you in a little bit more, and then they reject you. So you're probably not far off there. 90 there. There's 92,500 there where I drew that line. So something like that does make sense to me. So let's not get too euphoric. Let's see if we can get a weekly close in that region. Then obviously we'll track what is going down during the course of next week. But in terms of where I think we're going to end up, I believe we might go down there. I'm keen to hear the guys. Dave, lower,
yeah. Lower.
Do you like 60s?
I do.
Do you like 60s?
Yeah.
Where do you think, where do you think we're going to go here? Do you think that's possible, or was that the bottom?
No, I mean, I think 75K was the target I had mentioned a couple days ago. And, we kind of went down to 78. I mean, maybe we'll visit there, but honestly, I think 75 is probably the low.
Nice.
That's just my feeling.
Okay, that's nice. That's bullish. That's nice. James?
No, thank you.
You don't like 60s?
No, I do not. If we go to 60s, where are the alts going to be at that point?
No, they're done. They're done.
If we go to 60s, I think we're cooked. So that's not happening.
Okay, well, James says it can't happen, so he's
cannot.
banned it. So then we're good. So guys, I'm just giving you a scenario. Again, I'm not trying to be a doomsday bear. I'm not trying to send everybody to zero. I'm just trying to give you what I see, okay? And that is, what I've done for the last 18 months, and this is what I'm seeing. So I'm happy to change my perspective. If we close above 90K, we can maybe start looking at a few different things, but I would be super cautious around that 90K level, and if we reject there, this is most likely the story you're going to see. So you can see these things on a 15-minute setup, on a 1-hour candle. This just happens to be a weekly. But if you were looking at this objectively using 15-minute candles, you'd probably say it's reasonable that we might come down into that region. Okay, so Michael wants to go 73. So guys, it's there. Okay, I'm sprinkling in it there. I'm not trying to ruin anybody's weekend here. I was feeling epic. There's only 100-something countries left for Trump to throw tariffs on. He must bring them. We just love these tariffs. They're so exciting. Okay, let's go. How did we know in hackers? How did we know this morning that there was going to be a high probability of a market bounce? Okay, very simple. The USDT dominance chart was telling us the story. What did we have? We had the simplest TA thing in history. Okay, we had a 618 fib from the highs to the lows, acting as a resistance band, tying in with a couple of horizontals. The most basic, simple TA in history, okay, told us that we were going to get some kind of market bounce today using USDT dominance. Look at that, bang into the 618 fib and a rejection zone there for us. So that was told in the tail, okay, and that obviously triggered me earlier this morning to give a Sol long. We were looking at Sol earlier today, and also early this morning when I woke up, I said wicks are getting filled here from the early dumps. I'm buying a couple of these alts. You know, it just made sense that things were going to be happening there for us. So USDT telling a story. Let's take a look at dominance. Now, BTC dominance is getting aggressive, but we don't mind if dominance on Bitcoin is getting aggressive as long as Bitcoin is pumping for us. So you would have noticed your altcoins over the last couple of, the last few days have done slightly better than BTC. You would have seen Bitcoin creating new lows where a lot of these alts were holding certain levels. They were filling their wicks from previously, while Bitcoin just kept on going down. And that was a result of this dominance falling over so beautifully. So now, if dominance is pumping again, we don't necessarily mind as long as Bitcoin is pushing higher for us. So as long as we're getting green Bitcoin candles, we're going to be super happy with dominance pumping. And in terms of where we want this thing to reject for the altcoins benefit, well, let's just look at a couple of levels here. You can see this is the zone, 61.1. And then if we do push a little bit higher, you can see your 62.2 or just below that there, 62%, give or take in that region. So these are the zones we really want to see reject for some kind of alts move. But again, we don't mind if Bitcoin's ripping and then dominance rips with it. That's fine. The alts will organically move up there. It's just the converse is the problem. When we flat, or Bitcoin falling over, that obviously creates issues for us. But that's kind of what I'm looking for these altcoins if we are going to get an extended run. And then our total 3 chart, which is very reliable. This is now on the weekly that I pulled out for you guys. And this was our bounce zone. So this made sense that we were still holding the bounce zone. And now we've got a short-term bounce on the altcoin market. And remember, total 3 is all the altcoins ex Bitcoin and ETH. Okay, so it gives you a fair representation. Now, what do we do with this? What do we do with this chart? How can we use this chart? Why does it benefit me? So keep it simple. You can see the alts are pushing higher. What do we need to look out for? So to stop our euphoria, when we push into this $850 billion zone, that is most likely an area where you need to say to yourself, maybe it's time to slow down on some alts. Maybe it's time to take profit on some of them. Maybe it's time to look for a couple more head short situations or things like that. So just track this chart. This gives you the market situation for all the altcoins. So 850 billion, that's a danger zone for me. I would expect under most circumstances a rejection in that zone. If we pop through that, great. Okay, then we're cooking. We're going to be playing breakout longs. We're going to be euphoric again by next Friday. We're going to be so happy. The wives are going to have handbags. The husbands are going to have, what do the husbands get? What do the husbands get? Nose hair trimmers. What the wives get the handbags.
We get Ferragamo wallets.
There you go. There you go. What James, what are the husbands like in Canada?
Power tools. What kind of guy doesn't like power tools? I need a new drill.
New drills and new handbags. I like where this is going. I like this. Okay, so drills for the husbands, handbags for the wives. If we break that 850 billion there on total 3. Okay, so you guys know what to do there. Now let's look at the sad state of affairs. My ETH position that basically nearly rinsed me out. Okay, how can I still be red on ETH? Okay, in this current pump. I mean, and this will give you a picture as to how filthily red this thing was. And I nearly got invalidated earlier on ETH. So my level was always to buy ETH all the way down to 2,100, and I stuck to that plan. And let's see, it's in the crypto gods' hands now if we are gonna survive this thing. But I've now built a $50,000 ETH position here. If the market miraculously turns a little bit more bullish, then we should get a result out of ETH. So I'm trading this one on WeX at the moment. And let's take a look at the current situation. And this is how I feel every time I long ETH. It's like a disease, okay? Why do I long ETH? I hate it. Look at this thing. The runners, he's actually running in the wrong direction. He's going backwards. Everything else wants to go forward, but fuck me, this guy is going the wrong way. And I feel that every time. How is my ETH position still red? I'm so offended after this bounce, but here we are. So let's talk ETH Bitcoin on, what does Ramesh say? Joke's on you if you think your wife's still with us. What? ETH BTC on the monthly, guys. Let's look at it on the monthly, and we can see it's trying to hold. But I know, and we know, if you've watched the show for long enough, 𝗫𝗀𝗟𝗏, who's quite reliable in terms of things like ETH BTC and dominance, he's trying to send ETH home. And I don't remember exactly where he wanted to send it, but he might want to send it here. 16.
800 now. 800. He just keeps lowering that price. Yeah. Yeah, 800. Maddie was telling me this morning in Hackers here in the chat.
I know, we fucked.
It's like, okay. I don't ever watch his stuff, but I'm gonna have to check that one out to see what the hell this is about.
Yeah, no, guys. Okay, look, ETH is done. Okay, if it goes to that 800, ETH is done. Okay, ETH is done. But in terms of what we're looking for now, guys, that's your level. This 23,237. That's the zone. Okay, that's a monthly level. We expect some kind of bounce off a monthly level. Okay, then they can come down, and then we'll expect another bounce. Okay, we can play this game, and we'll be talking about this. And Haroon says 800 is not possible. Fuck, Haroon, you just jinxed us, bro. You totally just jinxed us. Now it's coming, I'm telling you. And James wants to go to 1700 for ETH first. Let's take a look. Is that possible? Yes. Okay, so here we are, ETH on the 5-day, and there's two big guns here for me using simple TA. 618, where we're sitting right now at 2,100, and then at 1,000, just under 1,600, we've got a big level. That's our 786 fib tied in with 5-day horizontal candles. Look at this absolute banger down here. So it's just under 1,600. That is a possible area. Now, remember what we do. When we drop into big levels, we always have to have our next plan. What is our plan B if this big level gets lost? So that is what I'm doing now. We're looking at levels lower down in case the market wants to go there. Okay, so here's our new level. If we don't bounce there, you can see I'm getting ridiculously long. I'm gonna get rinsed here if this thing falls over. I mean, I've tied up $7,200 in margin on this ETH position. It's not going to be pleasant if it doesn't bounce here. But if it doesn't bounce here, there's a very good chance that we are going lower. Okay, and we might be going to things like 1,900, and then 1,600 is on the table for us on ETH. So what I'd like to see now, ideally, is if we get a nice bounce out of BTC, let the alts run a little bit. I think we'll get 2,400 out of ETH. And, that would make sense as our first stop. So 2,400. Remember, this was a big support level for us before, and a 618. So we might reject in that guy. Alternatively, if we reclaim that, then I think there's a fresh breakout trade into 2,800 for ETH. Okay, so 𝗙𝗀𝗟𝗏 is sending us the $700 for ETH. No, bro. Is that where he's sending us? That's aggressive. Well, look, maybe. Anything's possible. It's crypto, guys. I mean, anything is possible. We had Popcat at 16. Okay, so bounce now or cut it off. Okay, I actually need... James, I lost that tweet. I need it again. I need it. So let's just discuss Sol, because there was good news on Sol today, but this is literally Sol after Trump launching the coin. Okay, we've seen this one before. I mean, this is how I felt. I felt wealthy at 200 and what were we at? 290. And then I felt rinsed, okay, when they sent it back down to 127. So saved by the bell here. CME Group, the world's largest futures exchange to launch Sol futures, okay? Nice. That's bullish news. So what happens? Yes, sir.
It's in your inbox, sir.
Ah, this is the most important, it's the most important tweet in history. This. I'm going to have to tweet this out. I don't know how to show this one on the screen. Okay, we'll have to figure it out. Okay, he's made a personalized one with my face on it. I don't know if I should use that. Okay, so in terms of Sol versus Bitcoin, how are we doing? So after a massive sell-off, we've seen total abuse in the market. We've seen Bitcoin falling over, all those things. But Sol has actually bounced up quite nicely versus BTC. But we are moving into the no euphoria zone right now for Sol versus Bitcoin. So this is almost telling us we're moving into the area where if you've been long Sol, you might want to switch over into BTC if you play that game, Sol versus BTC. So right now that is pushing into a resistance band. So based on what we're seeing here, balance of probabilities, it most likely gets a second rejection out of that zone and possibly comes a little bit lower, maybe another test of these levels to the downside. But nice to see a little bit of strength finally with Sol moving a little bit higher. And I dropped this one in Chart Hackers this morning. So you must follow Chart Hackers. This is the Chart Hackers at the Chart Hackers. And for those of you that are not in Chart Hackers and you want to know a little bit about what's going on, obviously I'll show you stuff on the show, but we drop alpha as well as cool shit and jokes and all these types of things in our Chart Hackers X. Over quite nicely. We had, that's me talking. Okay, there we go. Okay, so here it is. Follow the Chart Hackers. There's the drop that I made earlier today with Sol. Okay, nice little bounce there, 600% up. This thing is cooking at the moment here on L-Bank. Okay, there it is, $3,100 up. Nice little trade this morning. I had a Popcat long that I dropped in Hackers yesterday, got the entry added. I've now closed that thing, and now I've started a couple of head shorts. Maybe we're going to get rinsed, maybe not on some of these head shorts. We'll have to see how it goes, but yeah, started that process. I've got those charts for you guys. We're going to talk through them just in case this market is going to start falling over. So let's look at Sol. And let's get stuck into this. And why is this a head short territory now for me? So you can see Sol made sense of anything from, say, 125 to 120 was going to be our first big buy zone to the downside, okay? And we dropped into that zone earlier today. Obviously, the whole market got super excited. They saw Sol down there and started buying it. But one of the clues that we had over the last few days was this big reversal that looked like it was imminent. It looked like it was coming. So the signs were there that we were going to get some kind of snapback bounce out of Sol. But now, how do we play this thing and what do we do? So in terms of a dream scenario, okay, in terms of a dream scenario here, Sol can push to 180. Okay, that's in a perfect world. And, you know, that's like really like the market turns bullish. Something happens with the tariffs. Uncle Donald says one or two things, strategic reserve, blah, blah, blah. Next thing, the market rips. So that is dream scenario on Sol. I wouldn't bank any higher than that under these current conditions. Then in terms of what happens now, so you can see we've had a beautiful bounce today. And this is the decision you need to make now as a bull or as a bear. Okay, we've had a 17% bounce on Sol. Is that the low? Was that the low? Okay, was that the bottom for Sol? Or can Sol drop a little bit lower? Okay, to 110. That's on the table for us as well. Can it come back and fill this wick, form a double bottom and things like that? So that's the decision you need to make now as a degen trader. But in terms of the daily, I'd say the balance of probabilities now after that bounce, this daily is kind of leaning to Sol holding that low for at least an extended move. So based on what I'm seeing there, maybe a little bit of a dip, but then, you know, I'd like to see it make its way up and then maybe some kind of rejection. Could be at around 160 in a dream situation, like I said, 180, something like that. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen here with the market and what Donald's going to say next. I literally couldn't tell you what he's going to say next, but if it's something bullish, well, then we're going to rip. If it's something bearish, we're watching 120 again. We're watching 110 again for Sol. But in terms of what I'm doing, in terms of my game plan here on Sol, well, you can see this is one of our head short zones. This is 147. Why is this important? This was a support zone we were watching on the way down. And now, in terms of where we are right now, we know possible rejection zone 147, next possible rejection zone 158 to 160. So with that information at hand, okay, let's take a look on a lower time frame and see, you know, are we being crazy here looking for some kind of short-term reversal on Sol? Whether you believe the bottom is in or not, if it's going to reject, these are typically your zones that you're going to be looking at. So in terms of what we've got here, we've got our oscillator printing a reversal now on Sol. You can see these are previous examples as to what happened when we printed those reversals. We did have some downside after those pumps. Okay, so that makes sense. Now we've got a reversal print here on this current 1 hour, and we're looking for even this reversal or some kind of divergence would make sense to us. And in terms of resistance or reaction zones for Sol, we know, going back to this chart, we know this is was a daily support region for us. Okay, we know that. So we're going back to this chart now on the 1 hour. We know this is quite a big area, and if we tie in the VWAP as well from the highs, there's a VWAP print here from the high on the 21st of Feb. We know we've got an order block in the zone, we've got a VWAP, and we've got a trend all around this region here for us on Sol. So suddenly we can see that this is a potential danger zone for Sol, number one. And then if we do push a little bit higher, we've got our 618. You saw how beautifully that worked on the USDT dominance chart. That is at 160. Okay, and where does that tie in with our Sol chart? Look there. bang. Okay, major daily resistance and major daily support for us there on Sol at about 160. So in terms of hedge plays, in terms of where this thing can reject, I would say if it's going to reject, it's either here at this current zone. So look for a wick into that VWAP, even just over 150. Look for that fake out above that and then a dip lower down, or alternatively look at around 160 for your rejection on Sol. And then if things really just absolutely blow up, like I said, we're going to be looking at that 183 zone. But I mean, that's going to be extreme. Okay, 183 is going to be pretty extreme there, and it would be weird if we get that whole move in this weekend. 46%. Look, I have seen stranger things in crypto, but 46% move. I don't know. Is it possible, Dave? Is this possible?
I think it's possible. Yes.
Jesus, this guy's bullish today. Wow, he's an animal.
We've just been oversold. I mean, I can only imagine how many shorts have built up here.
Look, that's a very good point. Okay, so guys, remember, a short squeeze is when everyone is building up shorts and the price starts moving up and they start feeling under pressure in their short positions and they think, geez, I actually got to close the short. And then some of them obviously have stop limits and things like that for their shorts, and that means they have to buy it back. And if you're buying it back, you get a squeeze and the market pumps higher. So yeah, I mean, very good point there. In terms of acceleration, I think if you look at the Sol candle here, you can see if we pop through this order block that we're looking at right now, you can see we'll probably get quite a fast move up to 160. That makes sense for me over there. So Maruk, if you're jumping in a full size short here on Sol, just be careful. There is that candle up there that you can see. We might blow through that one quite quickly. But in terms of rejection zone, guys, that's where it is. Okay, that's where the high percentage zones are. Okay, and Tindo says, well, David sends it. And that is true. David does. David does actually send it. Okay, so guys, you've got the Sol plan. Okay, and look, I'm inclined to say the lows hold and we grind higher, but I don't know how deep this dip can go or this pullback is going to go. What was that? BlackRock dump FUD? What was that comment there? Says up. They're trying to misdirect. Okay, and what was that other comment about Sol at 180? Close short squeeze. Yeah, 180. Yeah, it's possible. Guys, it's all possible. I'm looking at the chats here. And Chinkatron says, say farewell to Sol. And Maruk says, what's the TP for the short? So if that plays out, Maruk, I'd say 133 is probably your extreme if these lows are going to hold. So for me, 133 would be nice. And then 126 is going to be your low. Okay, so you can see the setup here. You can see why it's interesting. Those are your zones. 146 to 150. 159, 160, and 180. Those are your zones there. Okay, and then now we're going to look at a couple of other things. I'm getting rinsed on H-bar. Jesus. Wow, this thing's flying. Okay, so let's talk a couple of things. Congrats to the 𝗙𝗢𝗥 winners. Okay, that 𝗙𝗢𝗥 competition has come to an end, and first prize got $2,000, second prize got $1,000, and third prize got $500, and you guys have all been paid as of today. So the parameters for the competition were, it was anybody in my community, whether you joined from the show or whether you joined in Chart Hackers, all you needed was to deposit $50 into 𝗙𝗢𝗥 to trade the competition, and it was a P&L based competition, and you could be eligible for the prizes if you deposited $50 and you traded up to $10,000 in value. So congrats to all those guys that took part in it. It was absolutely brutal conditions. Okay, look at the results here. 56%, 22, 18% for 4, 5, and 6. And then the top three guys came out strong there at the top. So congrats to everybody there that participated. We'll do this again. It was a great initiative from 𝗙𝗢𝗥 just for our community. And we'll do this again for you guys. We'll just push them. We'll get more prizes for you. So anybody who wants to trade on 𝗙𝗢𝗥 with me, remember the offer that these guys are giving you. And it's limited time. It's only 9 more days. Okay, if you want to do this for 𝗙𝗢𝗥, there's a 50% cashback bonus here. If you sign up to 𝗙𝗢𝗥, they're going to give you 50% of what you deposit up to, I think it was $500. So if you put $1,000 in, they're going to give you $500 future bonus to trade with. If you put in $250, they're going to give you $125 to trade with as well on top of that. And today, what they did for everybody in Chart Hackers, they sent everybody in Chart Hackers 50 USDT to trade with because the market's been so filthy. So that was nice of them. And they just offloaded some money there for the Chart Hackers members. Okay, so that was super cool of 𝗟𝗏𝗥. Remember, guys, everything I talk about sits in the show description for you guys. It is all here. You can sign up to all the stuff. There's chart hackers. There's my trading accelerator, trading school. There's WeX. There's Bybit. There's Bitfunded. All the stuff that I talk about is going down here for you guys. Okay, Dave, let's talk a couple of setups here. Now, you've got 𝗬𝗎, and I'm sitting in a 𝗬𝗎, and I'm sitting in an AVAX still, and Sol, I mean, I've opened that hedge Sol here. We can see how that goes. I'm not happy with this H-bar that's rinsing me at the moment, but let's talk 𝗬𝗎. You've got a 𝗬𝗎 chart, yeah?
Yeah, I do.
Am I closing this thing? Am I leaving this open? What are we doing here with 𝗬𝗎?
I would leave it open.
Okay, let's see your chart, bro. Rip it out. Whip it out.
All right. Can you guys see my screen?
You've got MoveCon in front of your screen. Yes. Okay.
Cool, guys. So last week I had talked about this event that was going to be going on. And as of an hour and 15 minutes ago, they just started live streaming it. So it's a big event. It's called MoveCon. It's co-hosted by 𝗬𝗎. There's some really sharp individuals that will be speaking at this event. So you guys can see the head of engineering with IOTA, Aptos, Movement Labs. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure there's something that's going to be happening with some of these tokens, maybe not all of them. But taking a look at 𝗬𝗎, right? I really, really like this on the macro. So I'm on the 4-hour chart. I've got a rising trend that's drawn from the 4th of August lows. I've also got an anchored VWAP drop here as well. So you can see that we have a touch right here, and then we had another touch just yesterday, right? So we have this anchored VWAP, we have the 200-day MA, we have this rising trend, and we have this event that's going on. We also have a 4-hour bullish divergence with a blue reversal dot, right? So I would say, based on this event, we're going to see some kind of move. I am also feeling like there's some kind of weekend pump. I know we were trying to call for it last week. Didn't really happen, but I think altcoins have been so suppressed. And, you know, if you guys were paying attention to the dump yesterday, there was a lot of altcoins that were not dumping. For example, like Peanut. So, you know, Bitcoin was down 7%. Peanut was up 2%. Look at it right now, 35%, right? So 𝗬𝗎 is pretty much at, you know, hasn't really moved quite yet, according to like the percentages for the day. But I think that if we can hold this region here, okay, so if we can kind of just, whether we dance around here or whatever the case may be, I think we're going to see a swift move up towards the 50-day MA. You can also see we have a point of control sitting right at 3.55. So I think worst case scenario, we're going to at least bang right up against to the point of control. And so that move that we're looking for is about a 27% move. We can also take a look at a trend line here. We can also hold a trend line here. And there could be, you know, I guess this is a worser case scenario, a 14% move, right? So I think that we're gearing up for something here. I don't know. Again, I'm also taking a look at Move, for example. I gave this call.
Am I adding to my 𝗬𝗎 position? I
think it's a great idea.
Okay, so here's the, you can see, guys, I've got a mix. I had a nice PopCat. I've closed PopCat. You can see I'm long Sol, I'm long 𝗬𝗎. I aped AVAX this morning. I doubled it. Okay, so I started quickly. It started pumping. I doubled it. But here's 𝗬𝗎. Okay, so maybe a weekend pump. So I'm going to add to 𝗬𝗎. So check if you want to add to your position on 𝗟𝗏𝗥. Okay, there it is. You can see there's 𝗬𝗎 sitting there. It's $19,000 in size. Let's add to this position. Let's add $10,000 here. Okay, so we just buy their open long, okay, and let's see how that affects the average price.
Just got to send it.
Let's send this fucking thing, you know what I mean? And then we'll put our stop at average entry. There it goes. Okay, so there's my average entry now. So we're going to put my stop 2.6. Oh, it's just on a horizontal. You know what? I'm going to put my stop at 2.59. Okay, I'm going to put my stop at 2.59 here. And let's go here, 2.59. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can send 𝗬𝗎. Okay, thanks, bro. Let's see. Okay, let's see what else you got here. Move.
Yeah, so Move. Okay, so let's just kind of give you guys some alpha here. So these two guys on the bottom right, 𝗨𝗪𝗏 and 𝗪𝗏𝗏, they're going to be speaking. I don't know the speaking schedule, but you know, a couple weeks ago when Jupe had their announcements or whatever, I mean, it was just a massive, massive rip. I'm expecting something of the sorts with movement. I've actually loaded up a temporary spot bag with these guys. So if you take a look at marketcap.com/events, you can see here that movement, the mainnet launches today. So they're speaking today. The mainnet launches today. Yes, we had this crazy dump from Bitcoin. But we also have a 12-hour bullish divergence. So this was the dump last night with Bitcoin. You can see from this move on the fib, we are having a hacker zone reaction. We're also identifying this this rising trend situation, and we have an anchored VWAP right around 53 cents. So I think we're gonna move, towards this trend line, this anchored VWAP, which is about a 17% move. But if this thing truly has some massive news behind it, the mainnet, whatever the case may be, you can see that as I zoom out here on the macro, we have a point of control at 72. We have another anchored VWAP. That anchored VWAP is dropped from the high of the 5th of January. We also have a 50-day MA. So there's a lot of things above that we could easily be magnetized to, as I like to say. And I think from these, from where we're at right now, we're looking at a nice move. I mean, this could be 40, 50, 60%. I don't know. But again, with the event and all these things, I think it's worth the risk. So
move's got to move. Okay, guys, so you got that. Remember, these charts go straight into Chart Hackers directly after the show, so you can find it there. And Roscoe says he got stopped out of Move last night. Look, I mean, yeah, and it's a mover now. I mean, how's that pump? Okay, so let's do a giveaway as well. Okay, so I want to give away the next. Okay, let's say the next 10 people that join Chart Hackers. The next 10 people that join Chart Hackers are going to get a bit funded from me. Now, what is a bit funded? A bit funded is prop trading, where they give you a demo account. You get 8% phase 1, you get 5% phase 2, and if you pass that, they give you real money to trade with. So I'm going to give the first 10 people that sign up to Chart Hackers, we're going to give you a bit-funded base account. That's a $5,000 account, and you got to just do the steps, and then you get you're going to get real money. So how do you do that? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the show description. Let me show you exactly what to do here. Go to the show description, go under the show. Okay, and you're going to sign up to Chart Hackers. There it is. It says Get Chart Hackers. Okay, make sure you've signed up there. Then you're going to email giveaways@cryptobanter.com. You're going to see it's going to magically appear under the show here while I'm talking. James is also going to put in the comments giveaways@cryptobanter.com, and you're going to show them that you've just signed up for Chart Hackers. Okay, once you've done that, we're going to sort you out with a bit-funded entry-level pack. That's $79 worth. So you're going to sign up. You're effectively getting your first month of Chart Hackers for free.
Amazing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and if you say it like that, it's even better. For free. Can you say that?
For free. Happy Friday. Get a bit fun.
There you go. Happy Friday. Okay, so you guys know what to do. Giveaways@cryptobanter.com. Sign up for Chart Hackers. Mail them. Say, hey, I've just signed up. You get a bit funded, you get into Chart Hackers, you learn how to short, you learn how to long, you learn fucking all that cool shit. Okay, there we go. Nice, let's go. Pie, Ajit wants some pie, and I've got pie for you, bro. We've actually got so much here for you guys. Okay, so let's go. AVAX, I'll touch on this one shortly, briefly. Why is this interesting? Just like Sol, we'll keep this simple. I actually dropped this in the daily candle yesterday as well. When the market was pumping, I was looking at AVAX thinking, maybe it needs to come back down. Unfortunately, it did. So it came down into the entry. If anybody follows the daily candle, well, that setup was there in the daily candle for you guys. We dropped into the zone. And why is this interesting? Well, we printed our blue dot. We printed our snake eyes. We printed our bullish divergence. So overall, AVAX was looking like something was going to happen there. So is that the low? Again, I can't tell you that. Okay, I don't quite have a crystal ball. But in terms of the oscillator, in terms of the market being desperate for some kind of pump, I'd like to think this thing holds its lows now, and we get some kind of move up on AVAX, like a decent size one, before they come and rinse us again. So in terms of where AVAX can go, let's keep it super simple. We'll keep it on this daily chart, but we'll keep it really simple here. So anybody trading AVAX, 23 makes sense to me. Then you're going to obviously look out at this trend. That's a level there, 24.5. And then, look, if things really accelerate through there, you probably get a really beautiful short at this 28, 29 level. By then, you'll see the 50-day MAs coming down as well. You've got horizontals. It will be disgusting by the time it gets there. So 28, 29, probably a banger short zone there on AVAX if it gets that far. In terms of current levels, 23, 24.5, and then the moonshot, 28 to 29. And then support-wise, look, it's 20 points. What's it? 20.2. is going to be your low. So watch that one. And you Rich want to sign up with some food stamps. We can work some I don't know. It might be tough. Okay. So there, guys, that is AVAX. That'll be in chart hackers there for you guys. Okay. Why am I getting rinsed on HBAR? Okay. Well, I'll tell you why. This thing's bullish. It's an American coin. The market sneezes and everyone gets happy again. I bet you Litecoin's also ripping.
ETF as well. Don't forget, that's brand new on this.
No way.
Yeah. Wow. Bad short,
really?
Bro. Bad short.
Really?
Yeah.
When did it, oh God.
That was 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I think.
Okay, that was there. That's why I'm getting rinsed. Okay, so in terms of HBAR short zones, okay, we still keep our conviction. Okay, we don't get ahead of ourselves. Okay, let's flip this thing over. Look at this. Okay, let's play the game. Okay, where do we see this thing going potentially? Okay, so let's take a look at this. So we flip the chart over. Where could this thing bounce? That could make sense for us there. Okay, that could also make sense for us there. Okay, so let's flip this thing back over. Okay, and maybe that's something we need to start looking at. So in terms of HBAR zones, I would say be careful here where it is now, but market looks nice. So next one is a big VWAP, 217. That's danger. 217. And then you've got double order blocks. You've got double wicks between 225 and 2.3. So these are your danger zones now. So anybody long, okay, so you can see I'm short HBAR getting rinsed now, okay, the longs are printing. Anybody long here, if you're sitting long HBAR, just look out. Okay, these are your zones. These are TP zones. These are potential rollover zones, rejection zones. Remember, no coin is invincible to Bitcoin getting absolutely rinsed or rejected from a big zone. So just be aware of that. You've got big horizontals up 225, 23. Watch that area. You can obviously look for bearish reversals here. Okay, you're going to watch your oscillator when you start getting these types of divergence prints or these types of reversals. That's what you're going to look for on your oscillator. Okay, so play those levels, okay? And if it pumps this weekend, like really, if you get a hard pump in the market this weekend, don't think it's just going to continue forever. Be smart. Go look for hedge zones. Go look for potential short areas and things like that. And make sure you're watching the show on Sunday night. And also, me and Dave do our Sunday night banger on hackers. We do a Zoom session for all the members and we cover all these things. So if the market has pumped this weekend, we'll be covering you for shorts. If the market dumps, we're covering you for longs. Yes, sir.
Just real quick, need to take care of my nephew here, 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗓𝗏. He's looking for the stop loss on 𝗬𝗢𝗓𝗏. He missed it.
My stop loss is 2.59, but that's very deep, eh?
Nope.
Yeah, there'll have to be a different stop loss for you guys if you're jumping in new. So mine's 2.59 because I've got a head start on the 𝗬𝗢𝗓, okay? In terms of lower time frame, Dave, while I'm going through the next chart, will you bang out a stop loss zone there for 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗓𝗏 there, and then we can start looking at a couple of things?
Yeah, I can just announce it real quick. I think 2.47 is a good hard, like a 4-hour candle close below 2.47. That's a loss of trend.
That's a deep one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I would say low leverage, guys. You don't need to go 10, 20x right now. Just build your position. Just kind of like what Dylan's doing there.
So, but in terms of the high degen, guys, do you have a number?
High degen, I would say like what you were saying, 2.61 makes sense.
Yeah, but 2.59. Yeah.
Losing that anchored VWAP makes sense for that stop.
Okay. There you go, guys. There you go. Okay, so fuck, I'm going to get rinsed on this HBAR. Okay, let's go. PopCat. Now, did I close my PopCat too early? Okay, did I get ahead of myself? Yeah. So PopCat broke trend, and I want to give you guys a long and some shorts and things like that today. So in terms of PopCat, what can we do? So just going back in time, this was a rejection zone we called in hackers the other day when we got this dip lower, and then we moved into a hot zone for a long, and I took that long, and now I've closed it. But obviously anticipating some type of pullback on PopCat. So this is PopCat on the 1 hour. So I want to build you guys a degen entry. So typically what you're going to do, and depends how crazy you are. If you're a low leverage, relaxed type of trader, you're taking fibs from the extreme lows to the highs, and you're looking at zones of interest. So the first zone of interest for you is going to be 0.25. That's going to be an interesting zone. You're obviously going to pay attention to this VWAP pushing higher there, and you might get a wick onto that, something along those lines. So that's the first civilized PopCat situation. Now, there's a lot of animals out there, and I know that. So we do have some degen plays, and what you can do is you go from the local low, which is early this morning. You go that local low, and you get your fib from the lows to the highs. So wherever this thing eventually rejects. So you're going to track this PopCat. If it keeps pumping, You're going to track it all the way up. And you're going to look for that. You're going to look for that zone, and then what you're going to do is try and tie in some levels of confluence. So you can see what I've got here in terms of PopCat from a degen basis. Okay, zone number 1, 2, 7. Okay, look for that. 2.7 as a potential bounce zone. And then I've got the Junior Banger. Now, the Junior Banger is a local VWAP, and it's the local 618. Okay, it's the Banger Junior. It's not the one that might do the Valhalla play, which you never know, but that's the Banger Junior, and that is sitting at 2.2588. So call it 2.6 as your next zone. So 2.6. So you look for that reaction in that area, look for some kind of structure as well. Ideally, you tie that into a reversal on, if you're filthy, 30 minutes, okay, 15 minutes. You look for those bottom reversals there on PopCat. Let's show you an example as to what happened earlier today, and then you're going to know exactly what you could look forward to or what you can look for when they eventually give it to me. Okay. Come on. Come on. Okay, we'll come back. Okay, when it decides to load for me, we'll come back here. But ultimately, we're looking for reversals on our oscillator. So when you're dropping into 2.7 or you're dropping into 2.6, you want to see your oscillator bottoming out here and starting to reverse. Okay, so yes, sir.
Well, just this comment here, this lazy lizard's been trying to join, I guess, and saying the link doesn't work. But I went to the show comments and the link did work for me. Maybe just try it again or reload your page or something. That link is working.
Is this for hackers? For the hackers?
I guess so. Yeah.
That link should be working. It would be weird if it's not.
I tested it and it worked. That's where I went and got the link from too. But
Okay, yeah, give it a go, guys. Let us know in the chats. Is it not working? I see Giga Chad is starting to pump, according to Dustin. Well, I think he says rolling, so I'm assuming not rolling over. I'm assuming it's rolling up. It would be really pleasing if this oscillator would load, but it's not going to. So that's your degen play. If I want to, my job here is not to give you a situation where I say just fucking long everything and then you're going to get rinsed. Okay, so my job here is to keep you guys safe. I know you guys are trading high leverage. I know you guys are degens, a lot of you, and let's just be responsible about that. And, I can give you the safest degen zones, and those are 27, 26, okay? That's your safest degen plays. Slightly more relaxed, 25. Look at that banger down there. Okay, so play that game. In terms of PopCat, if you're jumping in this thing now, understand your risk, and it's important as especially the new traders, understand your risk. If you jump in now, your risk to the first bounce zone is 5%. Your risk to the next bounce zone is 8%. Your risk to the big one is 12%. So do that calculation, understand your risk, okay? And Artemis says, what is hackers? Bro, let me show you what hackers is. Let me show you.
He's missing the mark.
This is hackers, bro. Okay, this whole thing here is hackers. This is the trading zone. Now we got Trader J and Panda in here, longing and shorting, Asia sessions, market sessions, fucking everything, okay? Small moves, big moves, whatever. Look at the stuff going down there, okay? There's the guys in there looking after everyone in trading zone. Then you've got a signal section. You've got the L-Bank comp that's just finished now, okay? You've got Zoom charts. You've got the live show charts. Then you've got my channel. During the day, I drop you updates with what is going on in the market. I show you all this stuff when I wake up in the morning. You guys are getting all this shit from me all day long as to what is going on. Then I've got my degen trading setups area. Okay, this is the stuff that I'm taking these trades live. I'm giving you these setups. I'm doing these things for you during the day. So these are, while I'm going through my work day, I'm dropping setups here for you guys. And then I've got my long-term charts that everybody loves. These are the big setups. These are the daily time frame setups that you guys can pay attention to. You can watch. I update these every single Monday. And then we've got our team section. There's Chaos. He's got charts and setups. You guys, he's a savage, man. Then you got DJ and David. Yeah, his reputation precedes him. He's a Bybit competition winner. The man won a Tesla. Okay, the man knows what he's doing. Here's his section. Okay, there's his stuff. There's his setups. Then we got the chart prime guys. They're all here cooking. Okay, doing their things. All these guys do live sessions. There's tons going on here. This Rawnear's a banger. I'm telling you, this Rawnear's a banger in hackers, guys. You must watch what Rawnear gets up to. Okay,
yes, we have quite the squad. We have quite the squad. Yeah.
It's a proper, guys, it's a proper team, okay? Long, short, fucking sideways. You got everything there, okay? Okay, let's go. Let's do some more alpha here. The clock's ticking. Okay, let's get into... Okay, Popcat, you know what to do. Okay, you know what to do. Let's get into ENA. Big unlock on ENA. This was Tokenomist. Okay, he's saying to us there's a $855 million ENA unlock. It looks like 65.9% of the circulating supply. That is not good. Okay, that feels like a lot. So I thought, let's just look at the chart in case. Now, in case we get a weekend pump on this ENA, what do? Now, for me, when you see an unlock like that, it tells you if you get a green pump into this unlock. When is this unlock? Let's see the dates, 5th of March. If you go green into that unlock, you probably want to look for exit plays, or you probably want to look for potential shorts. So in terms of ENA, we'll keep it really simple. And what we want to do is just look for a couple of zones that we've looked at previously for potential nice big shorts. Now, and it could be a really big short zone here for you guys on ENA. So what I want to say is if this thing pumps this weekend, 496. Look at this guy. Tons of wicks here on the daily. That was a previous support band as well. So 496. Look for that there. If you get a hard pump there, there's most likely a great short on ENA. It probably takes you to depths of hell, like really some proper low levels there. And then 555. Watch that 555. That's your next big one. But in terms of that, you know, for me personally, I'm not looking for longs here. If this thing pumps miraculously this weekend, I think there's short opportunities there, and that could be a fun one on the way down. Okay, so we'll be hunting that if we get that opportunity. And Yumi says Hackers was ICU for yesterday.
I just have to say this is true. Not only is there great traders in there and scalping and this and that, but there's a whole community. And when the market's shit in the bed like yesterday and you're scared shitless, you can either do it by yourself or you can do it with a bunch of other people. And the support in there is fantastic. Not to mention my amazing sense of humor is in there like 24/7. So it's entertaining as well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Here is Zigcoin. Now, we looked at this one. We probably looked at this one about a month ago. And we were looking for a range bounce on this thing. Now, obviously, it got rinsed with the rest of the market. But in terms of support, anybody trading Zig at the moment, here's your big support. This is the guy. Okay, so it's 0.087. That's your big one that you're going to watch now. And in terms of upside, well, we've lost this key level there. Okay, we lost that 109. So in terms of a push for this thing, I would say just be careful. If you push back into 106 to 111, that is probably your rejection zone there on the Zig. So anybody still trading this one, 85 is your support. Rejection zone is 106 to 111. Watch that area there. That's probably where you get a nice rejection on that thing. Okay, how much time we got? We got about 4 minutes. Let's go. Ondo, just news on Ondo. I'm not going to harp on the news. We know RWA, BlackRock, Ondo's a banger. Okay, we understand the market fell over, the market shat the bed, and let's just look at a couple of levels now for Ondo. So in terms of where this thing can go, just want to update you guys on a couple of key zones and key levels, especially the guys holding spot bags of Ondo. It's very important to understand where your big levels are. And you can see we've just dipped into that zone. So it's 88 down to about 83. That's a massive zone for Ondo in terms of support. And you can see our oscillator is telling us it might want to start churning a little bit higher. So in terms of the way Ondo's looking, I would say before we go down, it feels like this thing needs to churn a little bit higher. So in terms of targets, 105, 113. These are both big rejection zones for you. 105, 113. Those are rejection zones there for Ondo. Be careful in those regions. But in terms of support, big one here. This 86 to 83 is a massive support zone. I'll drop this one in chart hackers for you guys. Then Pi. Now, this was in the chat. Obviously, I wanted to cover you guys. Simon says, one of the weirdest things is happening right now. Ever heard of the coin Pi? Probably not, right? Well, he has. His barber's been shilling it to him the last few times he went for a haircut. Fuck, I don't know if this is true, whatever. He told me he downloaded an app that mines coins for him, and his thesis was simple. I have 100 Pi. If BTC is worth 100K, why wouldn't one Pi be worth at least a few $100? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, anyway. No one knows what's going on with this thing. It's all a little bit confusing, okay? Is there some massive bubble or community forming outside of crypto, Twitter? Even now, he barely sees anyone talking about it. Maybe it's happening on TikTok. Let me know in the chats. Do you guys know what's happening? And Hitesh says, Pi is the extravagant version of a greater fool theory. Doge and Shiba also run on the same theory. So don't be surprised if you see Pi pumping some more. What is the greater fuel theory? It says investors buying an asset without concern for the valuation or fundamentals, and hoping in another investor is willing to pay even more. Okay, so that is what's going on here. And I see PMG George says he's been mining it since 2020. Okay, well, let's look at this thing. Okay, and let's look at it objectively. So this appears to be recently launched on multiple exchanges. I couldn't find too much history in terms of like the exchanges that we look at. So I'm not sure what entirely is going on, but in terms of interesting levels, Pi, if this thing's still going to pump, this is your one, 208. Okay, you've got VWAP cover. Look at that, VWAP acting as support. Okay, so 208. That might give you a bounce there. Then in terms of lower down, I'd say, guys, it's 152. So where would I personally be interested in this? Anywhere in that box. Okay, anywhere in that region. Over there, you can see we've got a big cluster in that zone. So it makes sense if we come down there. So no rush here for me. In terms of this thing, that makes the most sense. So call it 163 down to 148 is the main sort of juicy zone for me on this Pi. Okay, so there you go. There's Pi. There you have it. Possible degen bounce, 208. The zone that I like, 152. Okay, that's pretty much how I see the Pi situation. And then render, guys. We actually looked at this. We've looked at this a couple of times this week, I think. But in terms of render, what do you do? So we know factually render bounced off a major weekly zone. We know that was, considered the wick fill and a potential bottom for now for render. So this was our dump on the 4th of Feb. And now it looks like we may have double bottom. But in terms of what happens next for render, I just want to highlight one more time, this is big resistance ahead. You can see these various zones that I've highlighted. This one is a VWAP. You can see it's rejecting right now at this VWAP. So in terms of potential shorts, if we get a hard pump this weekend, I would say 4.1, that's a banger short zone. If we go hard this weekend, 4.14, that looks like a short zone. Look at that VWAP up in that zone. In terms of this thing consolidating around about in this region over the next, say, 48 hours, let's say we have something like this, and it just starts consolidating, forming some kind of weird bar type pattern. We're going to track this oscillator on the 2 hour or 1 hour, and we're going to start looking for this reversal here. And then we're going to look for a short in render. Okay, so because you might get this bar pattern start playing out for you on render. So in terms of what to do next for this thing, I'd say let it do what it needs to do this weekend. Possible short 4.14 or into that zone. So it could be, anywhere from this 4 level into that 4.14, or alternatively, if it consolidates around this area, we're just going to wait patiently for that oscillator to start doing what it needs to do, print some divergence, and then we can start creating a short, and then hopefully it falls over. Okay. 𝗬𝗥 saved his trades. Okay. What does that mean? Did he get saved by 𝗬𝗥? Okay, guys, that's it. Friday, we're done. You've got shorts, you've got longs, you've got a green market for a change. That's nice. Okay, let's not get rinsed though. Let's play safe. Okay, you don't have to get overly bullish, overly bearish. Just play a balanced game. Final words from the gun, from hackers.
Be careful this weekend. I think if we do get that weekend pump, make sure you guys are taking your profits. Don't round trip. Because if we get a weekend pump, it could be a trap situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think any hard pumps this weekend, I think it would be silly not to take profit. Maybe look for some shorts, and we'll cover that on Sunday for the Hacker Zoom. Okay, Dave, thank you, sir. James, thank you, sir. See you guys later. Okay, guys, good luck. We'll see you Sunday. I think I'm on the main channel on Sunday, but you know the game plan. These charts will be in Hackers. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys later.